Hey students, it's me. I'm from my office today. I'm trying to get a different view, a different place to just work from, and I just wanted to connect with you for our daily devotion. Today, during my quiet time, I came across this video that talked about the first commandment God ever made. First commandment God ever gave to Adam and Eve was to be fruitful and multiply. And while, yes, that was meant to populate the earth, I wonder, the thought about being fruitful is simply you cannot be fruitful unless you are seedful, unless you have something that you bring to the table that you can plant and grow. And so today it's kind of interesting to think about this being fruitful, because in all of us we have something that we can give, that we can build on, that we can learn new, that then allows us to be fruitful in our world. We're seeing right now, one of the biggest things we're seeing in our country is the need for stuff that we used to produce ourselves. What's interesting is we are seeing a mass shortage of masks and hospital gowns. Two of the things we used to produce as a country, but as our country has turned and become more consumered and full of consumers, we're at a place, even as a culture, where we are such consumers that it matters what we have on our shorts or our shirt, what name brand we're wearing, what we have as a phone name brand. But what's interesting is we're such consumers that we want to buy that stuff, but we really don't know how to make it. And so this thought of being fruitful and multiply is about, what are you producing? What are you growing new? What are you learning new? I spoke to some of our students even yesterday, and I said, hey, during this downtime, have you learned anything new? And for most of them, they said, well, no, not at all. And I said, well, what a perfect time to learn something that's brand new for you. We're called in this first commandment to be fruitful and multiply, to do something productive, to be something productive. I think of my grandma. My grandma used to sew the clothes for my mom and her siblings, and my other grandmother used to sew for her sons. And I think about the issue, we have shortages of masks and shortages of gowns, and it's something that my grandmothers back in their heyday could just pump right out within 10 minutes and have a bunch for the hospital. I even think of my friend. I have a friend on Facebook, Abby, who she has gone on to sew hospital masks here locally in Columbus during this quarantine. She's out of work, and so she's decided her goal is to sew as many as she can together and send them to the hospitals. What an amazing way to spend your time. And so students, I ask you, are you obeying that first commandment? Are you being fruitful? I know for many of you, you're working on schoolwork. I know for many of us, we're working on work from home, or we're working on things, but we have something inside of us to change something. We've hit a spot in our country where I think we need to realize that we need to be more proud of the things that we produce rather than the things we consume. Right now we're all about consuming. We're all about, do we have the right game system? Do we have the right Nike check on our clothes? Do we have this and have that? But what about the things we actually make ourselves? During this time down, maybe you feel led to serve. Maybe that's making cookies or some sort of dessert for nurses that are still having to work. Maybe it's reaching out to people who are desperate. Maybe it's just leaving a bag of groceries at your elderly neighbor's house, even if you don't know they need anything. Are we being fruitful? And when God asks you to be fruitful, he's saying you have the seeds inside of you. I can't look at concrete and tell concrete to grow something, but with us having the seeds of a drive, of a passion, of a yearning, then we can become fruitful. So what are you learning new? What are you producing? This is a perfect time, parents, if you want to get your students to learn how to cook. We live in a world that's so consumeristic, where we go to Burger King or Chick-fil-A or whatever for our meals. Maybe this is a perfect time to teach your students how to cook, or to how to do their own laundry, or to how to be self-sustainable a little bit. This is a big awakening for our country in the fact of we need to be more producers, just like we used to be. And I think this is a wake-up call for many. And so for me, I'm trying to produce something. This is why I come on a devotion each day, is because this is something that I can produce. This is something that doesn't allow me to just sit at the house and watch television or play video games all day. And maybe for someone on the other side of this video, it's comforting to see a face. And you're all alone at home, and it's nice to be able to spend a little time together. And talking to me makes you happy. I know talking to y'all for a minute does something for me because of my extrovertness. But I just want to challenge you, students. Be fruitful. And when you're fruitful, then it will multiply. When you can do it, when you can do 5 masks, when you can do a dozen cookies, then you can do 2 dozen, or you can do 10 masks, or that can multiply because you've learned how to do it. You're better at it. You're probably quicker at it. So let's go into God's first commandment. Let's be fruitful and multiply. And let's do better during this time of quarantine. Rather than letting, because if you fill your mind with the negative, the fear, the worry for what's to come, then you're going to experience massive fear, worry, and doubt. But if you're being productive, if you're finding good and blessing in the middle of it, then you're going to be a blessing to our world. I thank you, students. I want to remind you of tonight's Zoom call at 7 o'clock over our Acts Bible study. If you get a chance, tell your parents to get on their email so you can get that link for us to meet tonight at 7 o'clock. I can't wait to see you all, and I'm excited to just be around everyone. I love y'all, and I will talk to you later. Bye.